Hello everyone. If you like what I'm doing here, please consider subscribing, liking, and commenting. It would really help the channel out quite a bit. Thank you very much.
You're traveling through another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. A journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that of imagination. Your next stop, the Twilight Zone.
Morning, Mr. Castle.
Hello, Ned. Any mail today?
Got it right here.
Where's my registered letter?
Registered? Oh, I didn't see one.
The one that says I won the Publishers House sweepstakes.
Oh, well, I'll keep an eye out for it. I entered that one myself.
Instead, I get only bills.
Yeah, the check's in the mail, Mr. Castle. Say, maybe tomorrow, huh?
Maybe. See ya. Another bill, and another, and another. Edna, what about the gas and electric?
What?
The gas and electric bill. How many months is that?
2 months. That's one you'd better pay.
That's the one I can't pay.
Mr. Castle?
How are you, Mrs. Gumley?
Just fine, Mr. Castle.
Good. Glad to hear it.
How have you been?
Oh, can't complain.
Been having a lot of rain, haven't we?
What? Oh, yes. Quite a bit of rain for this time of year.
Well, it's good for the flowers.
How's that?
Good for the flowers. The rain, that is.
Yeah, very good for flowers.
An heirloom today, Mr. Castle.
An heirloom, Mrs. Gumley. You don't say.
Oh, yes, Mr. Castle. Been in my family for years.
Has it now?
Years and years. It's supposed to be very valuable. Hand-blown glass is what it is.
Mrs. Gumley, it's just a plain old glass wine bottle. Do you know what it's worth, actually? Nothing. Not even a deposit. If you could find the store where it came from, that's what they'd give you. Nothing.
I could let it go for $1.
Mrs. Gumley, if I could spare $1, I'd give it to you. Believe me, I would. But things have been rough here. The pawn shop business isn't what it used to be. I'm so in debt myself that...
I see.
Wait a moment.
Yes.
$1 it is, then. I wish it could be more, Mrs. Gumley. I really do.
God bless you, Mr. Castle. I could kiss you.
Stop that now. It's nothing.
You're a wonderful man.
Good luck to you.
And to you.
Better days for all of us.
Mr. Castle, it's not an heirloom, you know. I found it in a garbage can. It's just a dirty old cheap glass bottle. Please forgive me for lying to you.
That's all right, Mrs. Gumley. Who knows? Maybe it'll turn out to be an heirloom. We'll just have to wait and see.
Who was that?
No one.
It sounded like Mrs. Gumley. Then I heard the cash register. What did you buy this time?
Edna.
Oh, a bottle. Gorgeous.
She said it was an heirloom.
Is that right?
She has to eat, doesn't she?
And you don't?
That's not the point.
Arthur, we're a couple of weeks away from bankruptcy.
Don't you think I know that?
Then you'd better start rubbing that bottle and pray, Arthur. Pray that a genie appears, because that's about the only hope we have left.
Oh, Edna. Edna, please.
Mr. and Mrs. Arthur Castle, suspended in that brief fragment of time before fate comes out of a bottle. Mr. and Mrs. Arthur Castle, gentle and infinitely patient people whose lives have been a hope chest with a rusty lock and a lost set of keys. But in just a moment, that hope chest will be opened, and an improbable phantom will try to bedeck the drabness of these two people's failure-laden lives with the gold and precious stones of fulfillment. Mr. and Mrs. Arthur Castle, standing on the outskirts and about to enter the Twilight Zone.
And now, back to our story from the Twilight Zone, The Man in the Bottle, starring Ed Begley Jr., with Stacy Keach as your narrator.
Here, give me the bottle straight into the trash with it. If you won't do it, I will.
Wait, it's worth a couple of cents.
A couple of cents, Arthur. A couple of cents. We've got more creditors than we've got cheap watches. You promised me no more handouts.
Look, Edna, maybe all that's left for me is to try and find someone who I can feel sorry for. Can you understand that? I need to feel that I'm doing something of value. Maybe a man can be a failure for only so long, and then it catches up with him.
Arthur, you're not a failure.
Of course I am. Look around you, Edna. In this clutter you see the legacy of 100 years. My grandfather owned this shop, and it finally broke his heart. Then my father, and it killed him too. The meanness of it, Edna. The shabbiness of it. The hand-to-mouth of it. This isn't just a hock shop where you buy the pitiful little residue of other people's failures. It's a shrine to failure. That's what it is. It's a mausoleum, a burial ground for people's hopes.
Arthur, please don't talk like that.
Edna, what happens to us anyway? What happens to us? Have you ever thought of that? We're not old people, and yet this place is making us old. There should be years ahead of us, years without having to make do, scrimping and counting and picking over checkbooks and budgets and final notices and old bills and...
Careful, Arthur, you're knocking things over.
I don't care about the bottle. I'm trying to explain...
Arthur, what's all that smoke?
I don't know, but it seems to be coming from inside Mrs. Gumley's bottle.
How do you do?
Where did you come from?
From the bottle, of course.
The bottle?
It fell to the floor, the cork popped out, and here I am, at your service.
I'm supposed to buy that. What do you take me for?
Rather than go into any lengthy generic explanation of my existence, suffice it to say that I am here, and I am, in fact, a genie.
In a business suit, with a derby hat and a walking stick. And you expect me to believe that you're a genie?
That's quite correct.
There's no such thing, except in fairy tales.
On the contrary, I am living proof, in a manner of speaking.
Arthur, who is this man?
You'll have to do better than that, mister. I don't know what you're trying to pull here.
Very well, I'll get right to the point. I can offer you 4 wishes with a guaranteed performance.
4 wishes? Aha! You got that wrong. It's supposed to be 3. In every book I ever read, it was 3 wishes. Better get your story straight.
That's a myth, I'm afraid. Oh, they may have offered only 3 in the beginning. But for some time now, 4 has been the operant number. Some considerable time. It's proven to be the most effective option. Think about it. Too few, and a person may waste the opportunity of a lifetime, so to speak. Too many, and, well, the possibilities can get out of hand. Frivolous, in other words. The opportunities tend to cancel each other out, if you see my point.
You've got your answers down, I'll give you that.
I think I better sit.
Well, Mr. Castle, Mrs. Castle, what do you have in mind?
Arthur, I don't understand. What's happening here?
Don't worry, Edna. The bottom line is he's a con man. He has to be.
But I see him. Don't you?
I don't know what I see. Could be some kind of hypnotist or something. Remember that guy on television? He made an elephant disappear.
Child's play. Smoke and mirrors.
You're telling me you're not a magician?
Nothing of the sort. I grant 4 wishes to the owner and then go back inside the bottle for a century and a day.
100 years. Inside a bottle.
Plus 1 day. A nice touch, don't you agree? Until a summons comes from the next owner.
What if there isn't another owner?
But, my dear fellow, there must be. consider the span of a man's life. 70. Isn't that the tradition?
So let's say nobody calls you, or it's the wrong day.
Ah, you've hit the nail on the head. I've learned to cultivate patience beyond anything you can possibly imagine. All of which means you're extraordinarily lucky today, as am I, in a manner of speaking.
Maybe he's from the lottery.
We didn't play the lottery this week, Edna.
Just as well. The odds are quite unrealistic. What I'm offering you transcends any lottery the world has ever known. They're strictly nickel and dime operations in comparison.
I have to think this over.
Take your time. Interesting shop you have here. Chinese vases, Tiffany lamps, bric-a-brac of every sort. Mostly imitation, of course. No offense. Nonetheless, I have the distinct feeling I've seen some of these items before.
How could you if you haven't been out of the bottle in 100 years?
I meant the originals.
The originals? How old are you?
If I told you, you wouldn't believe me. Nice silver cigarette case. Faux Victorian, isn't it?
My uncle's. He passed it down from his great-uncle, who bought it in Liverpool in 1914.
Is that what he said? How much?
Take it. Get back to the subject. What else about the wishes?
Oh, yes. Now, I think the business at hand is for you and Mrs. Castle to decide the nature of your 4 wishes, keeping in mind, of course, that each wish is irrevocable. Once made, it is fulfilled, and once fulfilled, it is a matter of record. It can only be altered by yet another wish. Clear, Mr. Castle?
Clear enough. I think we better call the police.
Why not wish for them? I can bring you Scotland Yard, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or every bobby in the City of London.
That won't be necessary.
Is it the police you want?
No. That's not what we'd wish for.
Arthur, are you out of your mind?
Go ahead, Mr. Castle. You were saying?
Well, if I had a wish...
You believe him?
Just for the sake of argument, let's say that I wanted that broken glass in the case over there. Let's say I wanted it to be fixed.
The glass display case?
Unless that's too hard for you. I broke it cleaning up the other day. One whole side is cracked.
Is that all?
It's too expensive to replace and impossible to glue together. Impossible.
Would you like to make it official, Mr. Castle?
Arthur, be careful with this man. You don't know what he's after.
Well, Mr. Castle, is that your wish?
Yes, that is my wish. I want the glass in the case to be repaired.
Very well, then.
Am I dreaming? It's a magic trick. It has to be.
No, you're not dreaming, Edna. I see it too. It's like new. How did you do that?
Next.
What?
Well, Mr. Castle, you have 3 wishes left.
3 wishes. 3. Edna, 3 wishes. Anything we want. Think, Edna, think. What do we want?
Why, I don't know.
I asked you to think.
I'm frightened.
A new shop, Edna. An expensive shop on 5th Avenue. We could have that just for the asking.
But Arthur...
Or travel. Take trips. We could see the places we could never afford to visit, like Paris or Rome or even the South Seas. We could take a cruise around the world, first class.
Surely there's a catch.
Or money. $100,000. $200,000. $1 million. We wouldn't have to grub anymore. We wouldn't have to sit here and waste our lives away.
Arthur, it isn't right. There's something unholy about it.
Clothes, Edna. Expensive clothes. Jewels. A beautiful house. No more worries for the rest of our lives.
Are you sure?
Edna, we don't have to rot away here. We can have anything we want. Anything, Edna. Money.
Money? The simplest of all requests, Mr. Castle.
Simple. For you, maybe.
How much would you like? In what denominations?
Edna, how much do we want?
I don't know. I just don't know.
$1 million. That's what we want. $1 million.
In what form? Gold? Silver? Of course, there are market fluctuations in precious metals, so there will naturally be an element of risk. Platinum shows the least movement. Diamonds are relatively stable at the moment.
Forget it. Cash only. All negotiable U.S. currency.
Very good. Denominations?
No 50s or 100s. Make it $5 and $10 bills. Recent dates and no counterfeits.
Where would you like it? Savings account or checking? Perhaps a numbered deposit in a Swiss bank.
Right here.
Here?
Where I can see it.
On the floor?
Don't you worry about that. Just bring it here. I'll take care of the rest.
That is your second wish.
You understand English, don't you? That's our wish.
Coming right up. Oh, just one thing.
Aha!
Arthur, I told you.
Do you mind terribly if I...
If what?
If I smoke?
Is that all?
Of course, if you prefer otherwise. I see the no smoking sign on the wall.
No. Go right ahead.
Very well. Now then, Mr. Castle, where were we? Ah, yes, I was about to say, ask and you shall receive.
What's that? Where's it coming from?
What is it? It's money. Look at it. A rain of money. Edna, $1 million, Edna. $1 million. There you are, Edna. Champagne.
I think I've had more than enough.
I suppose you're right. How can I work if I have a hangover?
Well, you could take the day off.
Edna, you're a genius. Why didn't I think of that? We both could. Close up the store and...
And what? I wouldn't know what to do, would you?
Well, let's see now. It's a beautiful day. We could take a walk together in the park.
Oh, Arthur, I'd have to get dressed up, and I don't have any comfortable shoes.
Or we could go to a restaurant. Any restaurant at all.
But we've already had lunch.
Then we could take in a film downtown, or a play, a musical. Do you know how many years it's been since we did that?
And leave all this money out like this? I don't think that would be a good idea.
So, we're prisoners here. We can't go anywhere, do anything, for fear that someone might steal it from under our noses. What good is it?
Oh, Arthur, we can put it in the bank.
That's tomorrow. The bank's closed now. Unless...
What are you thinking?
Call your brother on the telephone. Tell him to come over here. He needs money for his operation, remember?
Oh, I like that idea.
And while you're at it, call Avritton, the butcher, and Mrs. Tiola, and the checker at the market.
And that nice girl at the bank.
And the dry cleaner. And here, look in the book. All our old customers, the ones who can't afford to get their valuables out of hock. Call them all, every one.
What will I say?
Tell them we need their help.
It's a miracle, that's what it is.
I couldn't believe it when they called.
Where did they get it all?
They're such wonderful people.
And so generous, too.
Hey now, what's going on here?
Hello, Officer McLaurin.
The line's halfway down the street.
Yes, it certainly is.
They're having a fire sale in there or what?
It's that nice Mr. Castle and his wife.
What about them?
They're redeeming things.
What things?
All kinds of things, as long as you've got your pawn ticket.
Even if you don't, they remember.
They're redeeming us. That's what they're doing. It's the loveliest gesture I've ever seen.
Hi there, Mrs. Gumley. Beautiful day.
Indeed it is.
Your turn, Mrs. Gumley. Go on in.
Hold on. Where'd you get that fistful of money?
Right inside, officer. From Mr. and Mrs. Castle, bless their souls.
What are they doing, running numbers?
Nothing like that. Strictly legit.
You're telling me they gave it to you?
Sure did. Enough to pay off their tab at the butcher shop and then some. Plus the next 10 years in advance.
And whereabouts did they get this bankroll?
Don't ask me. But their ship sure must have come in big time.
The horses, was it? Or the lottery?
I heard it was the sweepstakes that came in the mail.
No, it was their cousin. He died and left them a fortune.
Well, we'll just have to see about that.
They're not breaking any laws.
I haven't had my turn yet. You're not going to arrest them, are you?
Maybe not, but I'll keep a close eye on the situation. In the meantime, I know someone who might be real interested in all this. Don't you people go blocking the sidewalk now.
Here you go, young man. Pay off that mortgage now.
I will.
And then go have yourself a ball. You and your lovely wife.
I don't get it. Why are you doing this?
Do I need a reason? Every time I come in your gas station, you look under the hood.
Oh, that's nothing.
Check the air and the tires, all of it, without my asking. I say that's worth something. It's worth a lot these days.
Well, thanks, Mr. Castle.
Bye now. Who's next?
Mrs. Gumley, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Here, you take this now. I want you to have it.
So much.
Don't you worry about it, Mrs. Gumley. Anything you need, anything at all, you come to us. There's more where that came from. For you, plenty more.
God bless you both.
But why are you giving me this money, Mrs. Castle?
Why? Because you're so bright and cheery every time I'm in the market.
Oh, Mrs. Castle, thank you.
You put this in the bank now for when you get married.
And for you, Mr. Jacks?
And you too, Mrs. Tiola. You have a nice day now.
Don't mention it. Buy a round for everybody. On me.
Is that all of them?
Oh, for now. Put the close sign in the window, would you please?
Of course, dear.
Whew. Now that's what I call a day's work.
You did wonderfully well, Arthur. I'm so proud of you.
You know, Edna, I don't care how we spend the rest. I feel so good right now, seeing all those happy faces.
I know. It would be nice to get away for a while, though.
I agree. Some time in the sun, nothing fancy.
How much do we have left?
Look in the box. It's still practically full. We didn't put a dent in it.
Your father would be proud.
Rest his soul.
And your grandfather.
Tell me your opinion about something, Edna.
If you like, dear.
I'm wondering, do you suppose I still need to carry on the family business?
Well,
we don't have a son or daughter.
I'd say you've more than done enough, Arthur. All these years.
Even if we did have kids, I'd rather leave them money to start their own business. Something with a future. What about your cousin's children?
Oh, that would be a wonderful present.
And what about you? You've been so patient all these years. What would you like?
Well, first, of course, you're going to retire. No ifs, ands, or buts. And then, wherever you'd like to live, Arthur, as long as we're together.
Of course we'll be together. You think I'm going to take up with a young floozy?
Oh, no, I don't think that. You wouldn't. It's not in your nature. But you're tired. You need to rest.
We both do. Rest and live. Yes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Castle.
Do I know you? Let me see. Harry Joy's son.
I don't believe we've met before.
Wait. Stu Wintner's nephew. That's it.
Not quite.
Are you from the life insurance company? Because if you are, we've got your payment right here. Just let me count it out for you.
In cash. Is that all right?
That's not necessary.
Or we could write you a check just as soon as we make a deposit.
And quite a deposit it will be by the looks of all this.
I told you, Arthur, we should have put it away.
Let me give you my card.
Internal Revenue Service.
That's correct. There's a matter of an income tax, Mr. Castle.
You just send us the bill and we'll pay it. But send the bill in a hurry, would you please? My wife and I will be taking off for Europe very shortly.
Oh, could we?
Consider it done. Where would you like to go first? The Eiffel Tower, an African safari, waltzing in Vienna, perhaps?
Dancing? We haven't been dancing since I don't remember.
Dependents? Just a few details for the record.
Ask away, we have nothing to hide.
How many dependents can you claim?
The whole neighborhood.
They don't count.
Wait. What's that figure? The one you just wrote down?
Beginning with a sum of $1 million taxed on the basis of a husband and wife, using the standard deductions and taking into account unpaid back taxes, approximately $907,000.
Oh, that's how much I have left? Good. Fabulous.
That's how much you owe the government.
I beg your pardon?
In addition, there's a state income tax involved, which, using thumb rule, would come to a rough figure of $35,000.
You mean hundreds, don't you?
Then there will be a matter of a 5% penalty.
For what?
If you fail to file a declaration within 30 days of today's date, but I'm sure you won't let that happen. The whole thing will amount to about, roughly, mind you, let's see here, $942,640.
Arthur, we've given away a lot of money already.
I'll figure out how much.
Fill out this form and send it to us with your check. It should be self-explanatory. If you want to use the installment plan, we'll send you a statement after your records have been analyzed. Mr. Castle?
Yeah. Send us the bill.
We'll be seeing you. Good evening to you, Mrs. Castle.
I wonder if we can appeal it.
Help me, Edna. You take this pile. 76, 77, 78...
Oh, Arthur, where's the genie when we need him? Well, how much is there?
$910,535, $910,540. We gave away almost $60,000. And this goes to taxes, leaving us with this. One $5 bill. That's our entire profit, Edna. $5 whole.
That was quite a wish, Arthur. Quite a wish. And we haven't even paid the bills yet.
If you'll recall, it was my suggestion that you reflect very carefully, Mr. Castle. Very, very carefully.
Now he shows up.
Had you made a wish that took into account the taxes involved...
Look, you. Plenty of sweet talk and promises and the whole thing. And all the time, you're nothing but a con artist, after all. This time, I want the $1 million, but I want it after...
Arthur, no more money. You've got to wish for something else.
Oh, something else, then. A new store. A chain of stores.
They could burn down 1 hour after we get them.
Success?
Be careful, Mr. Castle. Success is a pretty broad term.
He's right. You can't wish for success. I've got it. How about 10 more wishes? Or 20, or...
Very clever, Mrs. Castle, wishing for more wishes. But I'm afraid that isn't permitted. Frankly, I'd be afraid to have you try it for fear of the consequences.
What consequences?
Why do you have to keep losing your temper? Why can't you think about this thing carefully and then come up with
Well, you're no help to me, that's for sure. Here we stand in the middle of this crummy little pawn shop with the whole world out in front of us and anything to wish for that we want. Anything. And you just stay on my back and...
Stop it! This doesn't sound like you. Not like the man I married. Not at all.
Edna, what's happening to us? What's really going on here?
Oddly enough, this is the normal pattern that seems to be generally followed. Great excitement, great emotionalism, and strangely enough, hard to believe though it may be, only a modicum of happiness.
Well, you've got cheap customers here. Our price is no longer so high. We're people who haven't had much happiness. People who've carried a crummy hawk shop on their backs all their lives. What, Edna? Tell me, what do we wish for?
I don't know, Arthur. I just don't know.
What about it? What can I wish for now? What can come to me without tricks?
Without tricks? I question the semantics here, Mr. Castle. There are no tricks involved. There are simply normal and understandable outgrowths and conditions that go with any windfall. No matter what you wish for, you must be prepared for the consequences.
What sort of consequences?
Nothing more than cause and effect. Consider, for example, what happens when you throw a stone into a lake. The stone sends out ripples in the water. After a while, these ripples reach the shore. The bigger the stone, the bigger the ripples. And if the stone is large enough, you'll get a wave of water, even a tidal wave that could sweep you off your feet. It all depends on how much you disturb the way things were to begin with. Now do you see what I mean about consequences?
That I need something without consequences.
I'm not sure that's entirely possible.
Something dead sure, at least. Something anchored, something airtight.
I must agree, that would be the ticket.
Is there such a thing?
Sit down now. You'll give yourself a heart attack.
Edna, I think I've got it. I think I know what it is.
What, Arthur?
Power, Edna. Power, prerogatives, to be in charge of something, to be a boss, to be a leader with respect and the freedom to live as one likes. We could wish for that.
Possible. Very possible. President of a corporation? That sort of thing?
We could be sued, go bankrupt.
Warden of a prison.
That's idiotic.
Mayor of a city.
We could get voted out of office, and then what?
Wait a minute. I know what. Head of a country. Ruler of a whole country, that's it.
Who can't be voted out of office.
What about it, Genie? I want to be the head of a country who can't be voted out of office.
Is that your wish? Do you want to be more specific than that?
Hold on. Let me give it to you this way. I want to be the head of a foreign country who can't be voted out of office. But it must be a major country, well known, not some poverty-stricken third world place, and not in ancient times either, in modern history.
How do you define modern?
Within my lifetime, and developed. A fully industrialized country with millions of educated people where I'm very popular and can't be voted out of office.
No problem.
You sure?
Of course I'm sure.
I mean, what about the consequences?
Consequences, Mr. Castle? I've already told you. You run the risk of consequences no matter what you wish for. Like the ripples in a stream. There's no predicting, at least not with absolute certainty, where they'll lead.
All right, then.
Go ahead, Arthur. Wish for that. The thing you said.
I want to be the head of a foreign country, just as I've described it. Now it's your turn, Genie. Take over.
As you wish, Mr. Castle. As you wish.
You'll forgive me, sir.
Yes?
I have not slept in 3 nights now, but the situation is as I described. The first Ukrainian army has cut us off from the south. There's no sign of Wenk's reserve army. There is no reserve army. We are simply doomed. There is no hope for us. From now on, it is just a mass suicide. Did you hear what I said? They are already in Berlin. What about it, Führer?
Führer?
What do you want to do?
Why do you call me that name?
Here is what you asked for. Very quick and very painless, mein Führer. And we have the gasoline for you and Miss Braun. When you're finished.
Head of a country. Can't be voted out of office. It's the end of the war and I'm in a bunker and I'm...
Heil Hitler!
It's almost the end.
I've given them the poison. We'll take their bodies out into the courtyard and burn them when it's finished. Have the gasoline ready.
I won't take the poison. I wish I were back where it all started. I wish I were Arthur Castle again.
Oh, Arthur, you've broken it.
What? Broken what?
The bottle Mrs. Gumley brought in.
Why? I have, haven't I? Not poison, an old wine bottle.
Let me sweep it up for you.
I can do it.
It had no value anyway.
No value at all. I'm here. My final wish. I'm really here now. Where is he?
Where is who?
You know who I mean. The...
And why would he be here? You've had your 4 wishes, remember?
No, yeah. Well, I guess I'm a 4-time loser. What do you expect? I just wish he doesn't come back. I wish...
There you go, wishing again.
Right. Why should I? Why did I? Look at what we have here, Edna. We have a business that's been in my family for 3 generations.
And each other. We have each other.
I'm going to stop wishing for a while. You know, Edna, I can't afford a brand new life.
Neither can I.
I think I'll just give the old one a new paint job.
You know something, Arthur? I think that's a very good idea.
What is it?
Look, your first wish, the glass case, it's not broken. It's still repaired.
So we came out ahead after all. Nothing's ever a complete loss, is it?
Careful, Arthur with the broom handle.
Well, we were ahead.
Now you have more glass to clean up.
You know something? I don't mind cleaning up any of it. Not at all. In fact, not at all.
A poet named Lowell said it, something to the effect that granting our wish is one of fate's saddest jokes. Lesson to be learned out of a few fragments of broken glass in a trash can. And a word to the wise, to the garbage collectors of the world, to the curio seekers, to the antique buffs, to everyone who would try to coax a miracle from unlikely places. Check the bottle you're taking back for that deposit, because the genie you save might be your own. Case in point, Mr. and Mrs. Arthur Castle, fresh from the briefest of trips into the Twilight Zone.